Hello, and you are right on time. Pleased to meet you. I have quite literally just finished assembling our tasting serving, and I think you're in for a real treat. Let me just pop this down. Now, it's not every day that we get to sample some donuts for a celebration, but it's quite a milestone, and I'm sure your friend's going to be enormously appreciative of you going to such lengths that not only are you providing 100 donuts, but you're taking the time to sample the flavors that they would find most suitable to their palate and perhaps for their friends as well. And if it's true that we can judge a person by the company that they keep, although it's never good to judge anybody, I think your friend must be a very wonderful person. Now, without further delay, we do have 8 of our finest creations to get through. Now, obviously, we put a lot of care and a lot of love into our donut emporium, essentially. We have stores all over the world, and it started from a single shop, and taking the time, having the enthusiasm and the passion to create delicate flavors. People dismiss a donut as something, it's a donut. How elaborate can something really be? We're going to go on a journey today. A taste sensation, you might say. First things first. Some of our donuts have quite complex flavor profiles. And I am still talking about donuts here. This isn't lost on me. But you'll see. And it's important to cleanse the palate after every tasting. And please don't, we take 1, 2, 3 bites at the most from each of the donuts. But, after every tasting, make sure to drink. Now, this is a mint and lemon infused water. It's designed perfectly to cleanse the palate. It's just a little bit lower than room temperature. There you go. Now, with that out of the way with, you will also find a little towel next to you just for wiping your hands. Some of these donuts can obviously become quite sticky, and there's a little refreshing solution next to clean the fingers. Okay, are we ready? Now, this is your first donut tasting, I'm sure, or at least official tasting session. Correct etiquette. The 8 donuts laid out before you. We rather undelicately poke in the pokey, lift it, and we can bite. You can grab it with your fingers. Some people are a little bit precious about getting their fingers sticky and dirty and whatever. So, as you like. No judgment from me. Okay? Now, the first donut we'll be taking is the classic, the jam or the jelly filled donut. This is a strawberry tasting, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Now, classic donut. No ring, a generous portion of jam or jelly. Now, unlike most donut houses, we don't just make an incision and then squeeze in a little bit of jelly. The donut is actually built around the jelly, allowing for the perfect coverage. Now, as you can see, it's light, has a fresh, beautifully baked smell to it. Absolutely delicious. Little bit of icing dusted with a powdered sugar. Now enough talking. Delicious. And as promised, the jelly runs right through them. And it has a really playful little texture. Now, I encourage you, as tasty as they are, don't take more than a few bites. Our donuts are especially filling, and we have a lot to get through. But the classic, simple, but surprising, I think you'll find. Just a perfect donut. You might hear me say that more than a little during our consultation today. But this, you can't go wrong. And the jam, or the jelly, is actually made with real strawberries. That's why you can taste almost that, not sour, but that sweet fruit flavor. Complements the dough in such a delicate little way. Remember, you have 100 to fill. You can have 100 of the same donut. You can have all 8 in the 100. But chances are there's going to be some that you will like more than others. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now next will be the caramel ring. Now the caramel ring has a butterscotch undertone to it. People sometimes confuse butterscotch and caramel. They are two very distinct flavors. We have just taken the time to amalgamate them. So the first time you bite, you'll be met with that immediate caramel, that thick, comforting, sugary flavor. Then, gradually behind it, will come the butterscotch. And it's even richer than the caramel. But subtle. Let's load it up. Okay. The caramel ring. Again, absolutely beautiful glaze. It doesn't have the same aroma as the classic. It loses some of that bread freshness. And it's replaced by that thick caramel scent. How can a scent be thick? Is that not exactly what you're experiencing? Now I encourage you to take a bite. Wow. might notice almost like a burnt caramel. That's what it's called. It's because it's cooked at such a heat. It changes the profile and the overall consistency of the caramel. And then at the end, almost after 2 or 3 chews, you can get a small suggestion of the butterscotch, and then boom, butterscotch all around the palate. Magnificent. Have at least one more bite here. You'll notice there's a very slight crunch to the caramel icing. Not all of our icing crunches, or frosting, depending on how you like to call it. But the caramel with that burnt effect. Marvelous. Of course. I'll make sure once we have your entire selection, then we can discuss balancing and proportion. Okay? Now, unlike me, you need to remember to take a drink after every serving. Cheers. Yes, I do love my job. Now, we're 2 donuts in, the classic and the caramel. And you'll notice, and this is a decision during the design process, and yes, we design all of our offerings. But you will notice that the caramel was the donut ring, not the cream-filled center like the jam or the jelly. And the reason for this is because with the caramel ring, the caramel is such a rich and intense flavor. Just biting on the ring, you're getting far less than what can feel like an entire mouthful of jelly sometimes. And it's just too overpowering and too overbearing. There's science behind our magic. Maybe that doesn't qualify as science, but there's thought and logic at least. Now, let's move on to something extra special. Okay, the next donut is the Doughnut. Now this is as decadent as it looks. What we've created here is the perfect mochaccino. We've added a dusting of the finest chocolate, Belgian no less. The frosting, or the icing on top, is a white chocolate with a very slight blend of caramel. Just the slightest hint, it just changes again the flavor profile. And inside, you'll have a latte cream. And a latte cream, instead of being quite a rich, sickly cream, it's blended with milk, thinned out, and then we thicken it a little bit. It's beaten, it's stirred, thickening that mixture. And the reason for this delicate balance is because there's so much happening on the outside of the donut between the actual Belgian chocolate dusting and the white chocolate. You don't want to bite in and be met with yet more full-on, full-bodied flavors. Go ahead. absolutely divine. You can see inside the donut. It's quite a thick consistency, but very, very light. Creamy, milky, and smooth. It's like tasting velvet. If velvet had a flavor profile, it would be this donut. I'm struggling not to have more of this because it's one of my favorite. The Donutino is a marvel as far as I'm concerned. One of our finest creations. That's not to say that it has to be your favorite, but it's certainly, from a creative standpoint, something that we're very, very, very proud of. Okay, now I think we reluctantly should move on after we cleanse the palate, especially after such a loaded donut. The water again is quite remarkable. Crystal clear, but with those very obvious notes of lemon and mint that make a perfect combination. They amalgamate perfectly. Now, I think we'll take a step back from the intense creams and the milk and that smoothness. We'll move in a different direction. We're going to try the apple pie donut. Now this obviously is a different experience. Almost again with a sour note to it. Apples are carefully selected, prepared, and marinated with some cinnamon, some spices. Reminiscent almost of Christmas-like, but somehow we blended in a summer feel to it. Let's try it. Okay. The apple pie donut. Now, for me, I think the less said about this, the better. If you can, try and bite into the center with one bite. And you're met with the most delicious. Wow. If you can look closely, you can see a little bit of cinnamon flake in there. The secret ingredient to this is a very, very small amount of mulled wine spice. It's not alcoholic, but again, it pairs so perfectly with the apple. This is one of my most favorite donuts. If you've ever had the apple pie from McDonald's, this is the luxurious, completely natural version of that. There's a soft icing glaze at the top, and it's more really just to add texture to the donut. There isn't that much flavor in it because there's so much going on with the apple. And of course the dough, the bread of the donut. even if you don't like apples, I've heard people say this is just incredible. And for me, it counts as one of my 5 a day. So if I eat 5, we're good. Okay, let's move on. That's taken us to our halfway point. And I would encourage you to take a little drink. So after the 4, do you think you have a favorite? That was a very definitive yes. Is there anything that you didn't like? Of course. It's to be expected, I think. It's very rare that we have somebody who, obviously if you're signing up for a donut tasting, you have an interest. But in your case, you're doing it on behalf of a friend, so it would be to be expected, but I'm glad to hear you're having a fantastic time. Now, let's move onwards and upwards, shall we? Okay. Next, we'll head back into the realms of the chocolate. And this is our only entirely chocolate covered donut. And the chocolate again is Belgian based, but instead of just having Belgian chocolate, it's actually melted down and created into a ganache. And into that we've poured a little bit of vanilla. Okay, now vanilla, I'm not a huge fan of the vanilla flavor. It's very popular, it's very, very common, but the vanilla pods that we use are of the freshest variety. And again, they have a subtleness to their flavor. It's not overbearing, and it just adds a different dimension to the chocolate. You're going to bite in and you're going to get a small crunch because of the icing, the glazing. And then you're going to be met with a center that is surprising as it is enjoyable. Let's see what we get. And of course, it's customary to cover your face in chocolate. It's fine. We're among friends here. Now, as you're noticing, subtle crunch, a burst of some very intense flavors. But if I had to use one word to describe this donut, satisfying. It's everything that food that is considered unhealthy should be. Unfortunately, that's the reality, but it hits all the cravings. It's chocolatey, it's sugary, but it's not sickening. I could easily finish this whole donut in probably 3 more. As you can see from my full face, I quite often do. It's a tasty dish. And cooked perfectly. And that's one of the secrets with donuts. Don't fry them for too long. But not enough. And it feels stodgy. Thick and not enjoyable whatsoever. That is our most chocolatey. It's our most chocolatey offering. And it's very obvious. The chocolate is very, very, very obvious. Immediate, and it lasts right to the very last bite. Very enjoyable. Now, before we proceed, again, I would encourage you to refresh the palate. If you need some more water, please just let me know. You will also notice that these donuts don't make you feel thirsty. They aren't caked in fat, or there's no salt in them. We also create our donuts without eggs, and we obviously, of course, offer a very wide vegan variety that I would say have 90% of the flavor profile of our regular offering. They've came a long way, and our vegan offering is would beat any donut, I would say, in the world, apart from our own full fat and dairy offering. Delicious and healthier, of course. Now, let's proceed. We just have 3 more to go. And I appreciate you're probably looking at some of these and thinking, I really want to finish this. Everything, of course, that you sample, you can take away with you. They're yours. So don't feel like you're going to be missing out. And of course, you can order 100 of these. Okay, let's proceed. Next, we have another jelly-filled donut, but this time it's apricot. Strawberry is obviously the most common, maybe followed behind raspberry. Apricot is something that we introduced a couple of years ago, and it's quite a specific flavor. It's quite targeted, I suppose, but it's so enjoyable. It's refreshing, it's citrusy, and it doesn't feel out of place. Biting into a donut and finding fruit, as we proved with the apple, isn't as uncommon as it might sound. But let's bite. Wow. With the customary sugar lip. Quite remarkable. Immediate citrusy, syrupy texture. Just a remarkable donut. I love my job. What do you think? I'm really, really glad to hear you say that, because in apricot, you wouldn't be the first person that said, it's nice, but it's not really for me. Entirely understandable. We also have a blueberry offering that I didn't include in this pairing because it wasn't one of your friends' favorite flavors. You did say that they like apricot, so I thought I would include it. But of course, again, a reminder that we're not tasting for each other, we're tasting for your friend's flavor profile. Alright? Let's move on. I can still taste the apricot as well. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, I have 2 more to go. The next selection, I think we'll reintroduce the white chocolate theme. And this time, it's a strawberry milkshake. Milk chocolate, iced donut. Quite a mouthful, but one that I think you're really going to like. I have to accept my apologies. Still wiping away apricot jelly. Now, as you can see, a very, very attractive donut. The strawberry swirl lines delicately running through the white chocolate base. And the idea behind a milkshake is that, again, we're incorporating that milky, creamy flavor without being too sickly and calling it cream. Okay? Now this is, there's an immediate strawberry flavor to this. This donut gets me every time. No matter how many I seem to have, the very first bite of this donut always surprises me. I don't know how we've created such an enticing, such an inviting flavor profile in something as simplistic as a donut. The initial bite is met by strawberry, then very quickly chased out the door almost by that milky milkshake flavor. Milky milkshake flavor. It's a real thing. And have one more bite, please. I feel like a little kind of addict. And of course, the strawberry foam center is the real pinnacle of this donut. It's unexpected. And in this donut, unlike the jelly where we have the donut built around the jelly, so every bite is jelly filled, this purposefully has a pocket, a very thick, deep-filled pocket of this milkshake solution almost. It's beautiful, it's enjoyable, and it's a very pleasant surprise. It's almost when the donut can't give any more, it delivers. Okay. Now, we have one donut left. I know, time flies when you're having fun. The last donut, of course, well, I'm not going to say anything about the last donut. We'll try it together, and I want you to tell me what it is you're experiencing. What I will say is that the glaze on top is chocolate based, but that isn't what you're going to taste. Okay? Let's get to it. Okay. Now, There's something quite playful about this. And what is that center? It's called a mud pie. And it obviously isn't mud. But wow. It's based around a truffle, a Vietnamese mousse center. So you're not tasting chocolate. We call it a mud pie because it's almost the most unattractive name we could think of for the most delicate Vietnamese mousse you've ever tasted. It's got such a gentle taste, such a light and airy texture, but by far and away my favorite donut. I probably said that already, but I assure you, the mud pie, it's unparalleled in just how light. It feels like you could eat 10 of these, but there's so much flavor inside that mousse. It's so soft and engaging. Quite a marvel. I thought you might say that. There's actually a very, very, very small suggestive hint of Nutella. And the Nutella comes after that Vietnamese mousse, that softness. It's just a slight undertone of that hazelnutty flavor. You just have a cold wipe. De-stick your fingers. Unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of our consultation. I thoroughly enjoyed our time together. What happens now is that I'm going to leave you for 10-15 minutes. Have a think about what it is that you would like to incorporate of the 8 donuts we showed you into the 100 that you're going to be providing for your friend. So I'll give you some time to think. When you think you're ready, just head back out the way we came in, and reception will take a list of your final selection. Alright? Now, as far as advice goes, again, try and maintain that we're shopping here for your friend. Remember your friend's favorite flavor profile. And also, you went to the trouble of organizing this, so I think you're entitled to put a couple of your favorites in there too. Okay? And the mud pie. Everybody loves the mud pie. Honestly, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I really do hope you've enjoyed your time with us today. And as I said, take all the time you need. Just let our receptionist know. It was my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope you have the most amazing day.